Sports Centre is South Australia's leading lawn bowls apparel supplier. With over 40 years' experience in designing, manufacturing and supplying sporting apparel, we have revitalised the look of tired and aged clubs and made them progressive, vibrant and the envy of other clubs. Sports Centre creates original designs to suit your club, and we supply a full range of bowls apparel that will ensure your club looks its best. Whether you need polos, vests or weather jackets, long or short pants, socks and caps, we have it all, so you won't need to travel far and wide across the city. Sports Centre is your one-stop bowls apparel specialist outlet.
Yes, thanks for staying with us. Time to slip away from hockey. Let's get to bowls here in SA. I'm joined by two fine gentlemen, TJ Saunders and Daniel Lawler. Join me in the studio. Let's start with you, TJ.
Sure.
Good day. Thanks for taking your time to come in as well. And you too, Daniel. I should start by saying that. Lawn bowls, I mean, it's gone through some big changes over maybe the last 2 decades, from all white to colour to night owls. How have you seen the changes?
Yeah, look, it's a very interesting sport, Phil, and look, you find that evolution in the game, and it continues to happen. Where you had the traditional whites, and where I guess a lot of clubs have stayed sacred to that, are starting to move away. And the reality is, with the business, I guess, of sport is to try and introduce new players to it, whether that's in the night owls or a Saturday pennants tournament. And to do that, you need to, I guess, spice it up a bit. And the colour is, I guess, people are fascinated by bright things and flashy colours, so it sort of goes par with the IPL and cricket. Well, you know, the lawn bowls is a modern progressive game as well, and it's heading that way, and we're just on the evolution of the next change.
Well, not too far away from the fireworks and stuff like that when the players come out.
Well, you know, resting toucher, fireworks.
You talked about the business side of it. Now, Daniel, you're the commercial business manager.
That's right.
So from a business standpoint, has it been a good decision to go down that model?
Oh, most definitely. I guess, like every sport these days, you've got to have that flexibility for people. People's lifestyles are changing dramatically, between work, family, other sports. So as a sport, we have to be, look at flexibility so that people can get out there and have a go in the various formats. So from the Saturday pennants, the traditionists, to your night owlers that, still has your tradition there of the people that just love the sport, but it's a great opportunity to get new people involved.
All right, I'm a great one for tradition. We're just having a chat before we came on air about lawn and turf. For you guys, could you ever see the time where lawn will just no longer be played in Australia? It'll all go to turf?
There's two arguments there. You think with the water and the discussion around water and availability, yes, but I think you'll find that a lot of players in there that are very hard set on grass. I'm a grass person. I prefer to roll on grass. I think that it's probably the one thing you want to hang on to in the game. But look, the reality is, as modern technology comes about and they make improvements in the texture of the carpet, I mean, there's probably going to be a time where you're not going to notice a difference. Who knows? Technology comes in leaps and bounds, and maybe that's one area, but there used to be a flat carpet. Now there's probably a choice of 6 or 7 different areas that you can go into as far as carpet goes, and they all perform differently.
All right, when you talk about business again, come back to you on this one. Now, you look at Etihad Stadium, so they've had a lot of problems with the turf in there, of course, but it's closed in. I mean, Bowls is taking a break now because of the winter. Exposure-wise, money-wise, could you see it getting to the point where suddenly Bowls has played a lot more indoor on turf so it can play through the winter?
I think that's probably a huge development for the sport to take, probably over on the east coast. There's those meccas, and even over in the west. Here in SA, there's only really Wallaroo that have a type of indoor facility, and then there's Mount Barker that have a different version of it. So in terms of, I guess, with climate, heat, rain, I guess now that clubs are either making the choice whether to go grass or go synthetic, there's a lot of clubs now that are starting to think of, not only for health and safety, but for more play, why not perhaps put a roof over a facility so that bowls could be played 12 months of the year. And I guess that is an advantage of the synthetic. The drainage is probably a little bit better than a grass green, so it allows, during this quiet time, a few clubs might still have a social day, and if the weather's nice, they'll get out there, but if it's a bit lousy, I'm sure they'll have a few drinks at the bar.
It's the one great thing about having the bar. Oh, it's raining, we'll just stay inside.
Exactly right.
Bit of a break in the season now. Kane Cools, a friend of mine, he's at Holdfast, so bit of recruiting going on last season and it goes on again this season. You see players start to shift around. Now in some sports you go, well, although that's changing in Australia altogether now, becoming very Americanised where loyalty's out, most money is where I'm going. What's the situation with bowls? Is it loyal or best offer gets the best players?
No, look, I think you'll find there's still a great deal of loyalty in there. You know, there's some statements made just after the season from a couple of our prominent state players that they'd never leave the club they're at. And I reckon that when people are making those statements, they'll stay true to that. There are other players that will move around for one reason or another. I mean, I'm making the move from one club to another, and I think that's got to do with how you feel playing the game from a social level as well. It's not so much about the competitiveness, it's probably location, the people around you. It all makes, I think, the experience. Like in any sport, irrespective whether it's lawn bowls or what you're playing, is how you feel. And I guess that's the same for a lot of people. But when the promotions and the demotions come out, that also has a bearing on where people want to play, because they want to play at the highest level. And as you can appreciate, Phil, if a club's being demoted down one level, that player may feel they've still got something to give to the game, and that'll drive that move. I guess for me, it's a different. It's probably the emotional side rather than that, but each their own. Yeah.
All right, the Nationals a month ago, we lost by one shot in one game. So bowls in South Australia is pretty strong.
Absolutely. Look, we've got, going in reverse, we've got some really, really talented players. Really talented. Scott Thorburn from the Adelaide club, very talented and laid back, great personality, really fits the game well. We've got people like Max Kleinig, Wayne Rudiger. So Max Kleinig from Holdfast, so your mate's team there at Holdy. Wayne Rudiger from Grange. Wayne's actually represented Australia in there. And look, really it's remiss. You could name off 20, 30 bowlers that are at the top of their game and performing really well. But in the other spectrum, we've got some really talented youth coming through. Young Tyson Wilson from Grange also. We've got some players down there at West Lakes and some other players from the country that come into the city now. And I guess the future of the games for the next 5 years is starting to look really good for South Australia.
It was always seen as all white, older people played. All of a sudden it's lots of colour, a lot of young people playing. And if you follow the track of sport, one of the things that happens in sport is a lot of trash talking.
Yep.
So we'll come to your social side and see if that occurs. For you, TJ, you're out on the turf and you're playing against some older gentlemen. A lot of trash talking going or not too much?
Yeah, as we said off air, I've played a bit of cricket in the day.
Yep.
The slips cord and like to yap on a bit, but I'll tell you what, lawn bowlers leave them a dent. Absolutely leave them a dent. I sit there thinking that...
They're not the nice gentlemen that play lawn bowls.
No, it's actually a lot of frustrations get taken out on that green, I can assure you. So, well, look, good on them. They're out there having a go. But, I remember on the opposite end, I remember this one gentleman was playing down at Somerton about 4 years ago, and he was 90. And actually his son was associated with the Australian cricket team. And he's sitting there and he's complaining about his lawn bowls. And the lawn bowls, I don't know if you know, they've got a 10-year span on them before they've got to get checked. And he was 90 and he goes, look, I think I'm going to have to go and get new bowls. But I don't want to get them too soon because I'll have to replace them after 10 years. I love the optimism.
At 90, yeah.
I love the optimism. But that's great because, they're in amongst different age groups. And the reality is for people out there, they enjoy that, irrespective of the age. And it makes them feel part of a team. And it's exciting, it's exhilarating to get that win up. And it's very competitive sport. So it caters for everyone.
Tony, you play on the social side. And it's always interesting when I hear people say, I play social tennis or basketball or footy or cricket, bowls. But as soon as you get out there, it starts to get pretty competitive. That social side sort of drops away a little bit. Bit of trash talking going on the social side of things?
Definitely. In the experiences I've had, like you've said, it's pretty much that white line fever. As soon as you're there, you've got a bowl in hand or whatever the sport code is. The competition just kicks in regardless of if it's just a social evening or a day. So, but definitely, probably in my experience, it's normally the jokes around if the wrong bias has been held, and you end up in your other teams or opponents. Or other competitors' matches, but also if you continually bowling into the ditch as well, you get a fair bit of a stir. Yeah,
that's why I don't play, because I get a fair bit of stir. I think a fair bit of time in the ditch. Now you've obviously trying to reach the masses. Exposure for any sport is what it's about. Now bowls exposed. How's that going? Tell us a bit about it first, TJ.
Yeah, well, fair. It started off of all places, in lawn bowls at a bar between myself and Mark Easton, who was on last week. So sort of touted the idea around, and it grew from there, and started October last year. And, you know, it's not about selling lawn bowls to the lawn bowlers. It's about trying to get, as you know, from the social, the people that get out there and give it a go. And look, we're in a reality in all sports where you just need volunteers, you need extra people coming in, and it's all about money, and money what makes the world go round and in sport. But it's just a great game. So we're trying to sell lawn bowls to those that haven't purchased the whole philosophy of it yet. And go out there and at least experience it. And we sort of hand it over to the clubs from there to let them run with it and get those people. It's not about converting those people to pennants either. Because the reality is that actually the best place for them is actually to stay social.
Yes.
As far as the beers, the camaraderie, because they want to play with their friends. And Dan touched on earlier about them being time poor. You know, so they want to get out there, want to get out with their friends, and yeah, that's what we're all about.
Have a bit of fun. All right, big night coming up, of course. So the awards night, Friday, May 29th, Morphettville Racecourse. Expecting a big crowd?
We are. We're expecting around the 300 people to our night of nights, and yeah, no, it's growing every year. We've got awards that obviously recognise the great performance individuals have done, both male and female, across the year. But also it's the recognition of volunteers, clubs that have done a fantastic job. So, no, we're really looking forward to Friday night.
All right, so at the Endeavour Homes Pavilion there at Morphettville Racecourse. Of course, I think it's a 2-course meal with 4-hour drinking. So you'd want to clock on early for the 4 hours, I'm sure of that. Fellas, thanks for coming in. Time for us to go to a break. Still plenty more to come on the show.
Sports Centre is South Australia's leading lawn bowls apparel supplier. With over 40 years' experience in designing, manufacturing and supplying sporting apparel, we have revitalised the look of tired and aged clubs and made them progressive, vibrant and the envy of other clubs. Sports Centre creates original designs to suit your club, and we supply a full range of bowls apparel that will ensure your club looks its best. Whether you need polos, vests, all-weather jackets, long or short pants, socks and caps, we have it all, so you won't need to travel far and wide across the city. Sports Centre is your one-stop bowls apparel specialist outlet.